What if I told you that some of the vegetables you've been eating for years, believing they were good for you, could actually be making you feel worse? As a doctor, I've seen far too many older patients doing all the right things, eating their veggies, staying away from processed foods, yet still struggling with joint pain, fatigue, blood sugar swings, and medication issues. And the truth is, the problem might be hiding in their vegetable drawer. Not all vegetables are created equal, especially after 60. Some, surprisingly, can interfere with common medications, spike blood pressure or blood sugar, aggravate arthritis, or even block vital nutrients your body needs to stay strong. Others, they're absolute powerhouses fighting inflammation, protecting your brain and bones, and keeping your digestion on track. In today's video, we'll uncover the 4 worst vegetables seniors should avoid and the 4 best that belong on your plate every week. Backed by research and real patient stories, this isn't about extreme diets. It's about smart age-specific choices that support your health without sacrificing taste. If you're over 50, you can't afford to miss this. Stay with me. Hit that like button, subscribe for more doctor-backed health tips, and let me know in the comments which vegetables surprised you the most. Part 1. Vegetables to avoid. You've been told to eat more vegetables for better health. But what if I told you some of the most popular ones could be silently hurting you? For seniors, certain vegetables can spike blood pressure, trigger joint pain, or interfere with medication. Let's uncover the ones doing more harm than good. Number 1. Canned corn. It looks harmless. It tastes familiar. It even sits proudly in many so-called healthy casseroles and side dishes. But for older adults, canned corn may be one of the most deceptively dangerous vegetables on the plate. Packed with hidden sugars, excess sodium, and additives that quietly disrupt your body's balance, this sweet-tasting staple can do far more harm than good. Canned corn is not just corn, it's a processed food in disguise. While fresh corn has some nutritional value, the canned version often contains added sugar preservatives and salt, 3 things that your aging body does not handle as well as it used to. Just half a cup of canned corn can contain over 300 milligrams of sodium. For seniors already managing high blood pressure or heart concerns, that's like pouring gasoline on a slow-burning fire. Then there's the sugar. Corn is naturally starchy, but when processed and canned, that starch converts more quickly into glucose. The result, a rapid blood sugar spike that can leave you tired, foggy, and inflamed. For older adults with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or type 2 diabetes, a group that includes over 1 in 3 Americans over 65, this is not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. And it doesn't stop there. Canned corn is often high in insoluble fiber and certain fermentable compounds that are harder to digest, especially for older adults with slower gut motility. That means more bloating, gas, and discomfort after meals, things you might be chalking up to just getting older when the real culprit is sitting quietly in your kitchen pantry. Now let me tell you about Clementine Nash. Clementine is a 72-year-old retired art teacher from Flagstaff, Arizona. She spent her life teaching kids to paint, cook, and express themselves. After retiring, she took her health seriously. She stopped eating fast food, began walking every morning, and made an effort to cook most of her meals at home. Her go-to ingredients. Things she thought were healthy and easy, especially canned vegetables. Canned corn was her favorite. She added it to soup, sprinkled it over salads, and mixed it into casseroles. It tasted good. It felt nourishing. But she couldn't understand why her blood pressure stayed high despite her efforts. Her ankles were constantly swollen, and after lunch she often felt sluggish and foggy. Her doctor adjusted her medications, nothing changed. It wasn't until her dietitian asked her to track every ingredient for a week that the problem came into focus. When the dietitian saw canned corn written down 5 times in 3 days, she stopped. Clementine was shocked. "It's just corn," she said. The dietitian explained how the canned version had quietly been sabotaging her health. High in sodium, high glycemic, and hard to digest, it was the perfect storm for someone her age with borderline hypertension and metabolic concerns. Clementine didn't need to overhaul her whole diet, she just needed to make one smart swap. She replaced canned corn with fresh green beans and roasted zucchini. Within a month, the changes were measurable. Her blood pressure stabilized. Her ankles looked normal. She had more energy in the afternoons. Even her digestion improved. She lost 4 pounds without trying, and for the first time in years, she felt in control of her health again. Her story isn't rare. It's a reminder that not everything labeled vegetable is automatically good for you, especially after 60. Canned corn may have a place on the plate for younger folks with robust metabolisms, but for older adults managing real health concerns, it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Choosing better vegetables doesn't have to be complicated. It starts with awareness and sometimes with saying goodbye to old habits that no longer serve your health. Number 2, raw cruciferous vegetables. They're praised as superfoods. Broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts. Every magazine and wellness blog calls them miracle vegetables rich in fiber, antioxidants, and cancer-fighting compounds. But for older adults, especially those with sluggish thyroid function or sensitive digestion, these vegetables in raw form can quietly work against your health. Cruciferous vegetables contain natural chemicals called goitrogens. In large amounts, especially when eaten raw, these compounds can interfere with your thyroid's ability to absorb iodine, a mineral that's essential for producing thyroid hormones. And here's what many people don't realize: by age 60, thyroid function often begins to slow naturally. Add raw goitrogens into the mix, and that slowdown can get worse. The symptoms: cold hands and feet, constant fatigue, unexplained weight gain, foggy thinking. Many people chalk it up to aging, but the real culprit could be hiding in your green smoothie. Raw cruciferous vegetables also contain a type of complex carbohydrate that the aging digestive system struggles to break down. These fibers can ferment in the gut, causing bloating, gas, and discomfort, especially for people with already slow digestion or a sensitive gastrointestinal tract. Cooking helps break down these fibers, but when eaten raw, they can lead to meals that leave you feeling worse, not better. Let me tell you about Wallace Trentham. Wallace is 75, a retired jazz pianist from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He spent decades playing in smoky lounges, composing for local theater, and mentoring young musicians. After a minor health scare last year, Wallace decided it was time to clean up his lifestyle. He quit smoking, cut back on alcohol, and began following health advice online. The biggest change: every morning, Wallace started drinking a green smoothie loaded with raw kale, broccoli, and cauliflower. He blended it with almond milk, chia seeds, and a banana. It looked healthy. It felt virtuous. But 2 months later, he started noticing strange changes. He was tired all the time, no matter how much sleep he got. His hands were cold even on warm days. He found himself forgetting chords he'd played for decades, and his energy, once vibrant and expressive on the piano, started to fade. At first, he thought it was age, but a blood test revealed low thyroid hormone levels, something he'd never dealt with before. His doctor asked about his diet and immediately flagged the high intake of raw cruciferous vegetables. Wallace was stunned. "I thought I was doing everything right," he said. The doctor explained how raw kale and raw broccoli, while packed with nutrients, also contained goitrogens that were likely suppressing his already slowing thyroid function. Combined with the fiber overload, it was a recipe for fatigue, brain fog, and poor absorption of key minerals like calcium and iron. Wallace didn't abandon his greens. He just changed the way he prepared them. He began lightly steaming his vegetables instead of blending them raw. He also added iodine-rich foods like seaweed flakes and eggs into his diet, and limited cruciferous intake to a few times per week in cooked form. Within a few weeks, the difference was undeniable. His hands warmed up, his focus returned, his energy improved. He was back at the piano with sharper memory and clearer rhythm. On his next visit, his thyroid numbers were back in the normal range, and the fog that had crept in so quietly was gone. Wallace's story is a powerful reminder: even healthy vegetables can become problematic when eaten the wrong way. After 60, your body doesn't process food the same as it did at 30. What helps one person might quietly hurt another. Raw cruciferous vegetables have their place, but they must be prepared thoughtfully, especially if you're dealing with thyroid issues, chronic bloating, or fatigue that just won't go away. Sometimes the best way to get the benefits of these vegetables is not to eat more of them, but to cook them properly and eat them in balance with your body's changing needs. Number 3, eggplant. It's colorful, it's popular. It's in your favorite lasagna, your grilled veggie sandwich, and that beautiful ratatouille you've been making for years. But for many older adults, eggplant is not the harmless vegetable it seems to be. For people living with arthritis, chronic joint stiffness, or flare-ups that seem to come out of nowhere, eggplant may be one of the most overlooked culprits on the plate. Eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, a group of vegetables that includes tomatoes, peppers, and white potatoes. These foods contain a natural compound called solanine, While solanine is harmless to most people in small doses, it can aggravate inflammation in sensitive individuals. And for seniors who already have osteoarthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, even moderate intake can lead to increased joint pain, swelling, or morning stiffness. What's most frustrating is how subtle this connection can be. The pain doesn't always show up right away. It creeps in slowly, an ache in the fingers, a stiffness in the knees, a soreness in the lower back that seems to linger longer than usual. And because eggplant is often seen as a healthy option, it rarely gets the blame. Let me share the story of Ramona Delaney. Ramona is a 70-year-old retired librarian living in Providence, Rhode Island. She's sharp, independent, and proud of maintaining a mostly plant-based diet. For years, she avoided red meat, stayed active, and cooked nearly every meal at home. But as she entered her 70s, her arthritis started to flare more frequently. Her mornings became slower. Her fingers felt stiff and swollen. Her knees ached after dinner. At first, she thought it was just part of aging. Maybe the weather. Maybe her daily walk was too long. But the discomfort persisted, and none of her medications seemed to help. One day, while chatting with her rheumatologist, Ramona mentioned her recent meals. "I've been loving my grilled eggplant panini lately," she said, "and I made a big vegetable lasagna with roasted eggplant 3 nights this week." That was the moment the doctor paused. Eggplant. 3 times a week. They reviewed her food journal and a pattern emerged. Every time eggplant appeared in her meals, her joint pain seemed worse the next morning. Her doctor explained that eggplant, because of its solanine content, can exacerbate inflammation in people with joint sensitivity. It doesn't affect everyone, but for those who are reactive, the results can be dramatic. Skeptical but curious, Ramona agreed to an experiment. For 1 month, she cut out eggplant completely. No more grilled slices, no more baked layers, just simple solanine-free meals with other vegetables like zucchini, green beans, and leafy greens. The result: within 2 weeks, she noticed her fingers were less puffy. Her morning stiffness was gone. She was able to kneel in her garden again without wincing. She didn't change her medications. She didn't start a new supplement. The only difference was removing one vegetable. Eggplant isn't a bad food for everyone, but for older adults dealing with chronic inflammation, it may be doing more harm than good. And because solanine is most concentrated in the skin, and because eggplant is usually eaten whole, the effects can be stronger than you think. If you've been managing joint pain that doesn't seem to respond to treatment, if your mornings are stiff and you can't explain why, it may be worth looking at what's on your plate, especially if it includes eggplant. Sometimes the key to less pain isn't a new medication, it's just a smarter food choice. Number 4, raw spinach. It's green. It's vibrant. It's been the poster child of health for decades. But for seniors, especially those on heart medications, raw spinach may not be as innocent as it seems. Behind the image of a leafy, nutrient-rich superfood hides a pair of compounds that can quietly wreak havoc on older bodies: vitamin K1 and oxalates. Let's start with vitamin K1. Spinach contains very high levels of this vitamin, which plays a central role in blood clotting. While that may sound like a good thing, it becomes a serious concern for people taking blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin. These medications are prescribed to prevent strokes, heart attacks, and dangerous clots. They work by slowing the clotting process, and suddenly flooding your body with vitamin K can undo that effect. Even one spinach-heavy smoothie can alter your INR, the blood test that monitors how well your medication is working. An unstable INR puts you at risk for internal bleeding or clot formation. For seniors, that risk is multiplied by age-related changes in metabolism, liver function, and medication absorption. Most people have no idea that their healthy green juice could be interfering with their heart protection. Then there's oxalate. Spinach is also extremely high in oxalate's natural compounds that bind to calcium and iron in the digestive tract. When this happens, your body struggles to absorb these key minerals. That's a major problem for older adults who are already at higher risk of osteoporosis and anemia. So while raw spinach looks like the smart choice, especially in smoothie salads or green juices, it can quietly chip away at your bone strength, drain your energy, and clash with your medications. And for seniors trying to do everything right, it's a frustrating, often hidden trap. Neville Rayburn learned this the hard way. Neville is 79 years old, a retired airplane mechanic from Bakersfield, California. He's lived a life of precision, tight schedules, careful measurements, and safety checks. After a minor stroke a few years back, His doctors put him on blood thinners and closely monitored his INR to keep his blood in the safe range. Everything was going smoothly until suddenly it wasn't. His INR readings began to swing unpredictably. Some weeks they were dangerously low. Other times they shot too high. His doctors were baffled. He hadn't missed a dose. He hadn't changed medications. His lifestyle seemed stable. That's when his cardiologist asked a simple question. "Have you added anything new to your diet lately?" Neville hesitated, then mentioned that he'd recently joined his granddaughter's smoothie club. Every morning he blended spinach, banana, and almond milk into a thick green shake. It made him feel like he was doing something good for his body, but instead that spinach was the very thing disrupting his medication. Raw spinach rich in vitamin K was throwing off his blood thinner dosage. What he thought was a health upgrade had actually become a silent risk. His cardiologist advised him to cut out the raw spinach immediately and replace it with cooked greens in smaller portions. Within weeks, Neville's INR returned to its safe zone. His energy improved. He felt more balanced. And he learned a lesson that he now shares with his friends. Even healthy foods can hurt you if you don't know what's inside them. Raw spinach still has nutritional value, but for seniors, it must be handled with care. Light cooking can reduce both oxalate content and vitamin K levels, making it safer and easier on the body. It's not about avoiding spinach altogether. It's about knowing when and how to eat it, especially if you're on medications or have concerns about bone density or mineral absorption. As we get older, the margin for error gets smaller. Every bite counts. And sometimes the smartest choice isn't the trendiest one, it's the one that truly supports your unique aging body. Part 2, golden vegetables seniors should eat regularly. Not all vegetables are created equal, some do more than nourish. They actively protect your heart, bones, brain, and digestion. For seniors, these 4 vegetables are powerful allies in aging well. Let's explore the best ones to include in your weekly meals for lasting vitality. Number 1, beets. Your arteries stiffen as you age. Blood pressure tends to creep up. Energy dips. Memory slips. For millions of older adults, these changes are blamed on age. But what if one simple vegetable could help push back? Beets, deep red, earthy, and often overlooked, are one of the most powerful vegetables for seniors. They're rich in natural compounds called nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide relaxes and widens blood vessels, improving circulation and lowering blood pressure. That means more oxygen gets to your heart, brain, and muscles where it matters most as you age. In a study from Wake Forest University, seniors who drank beet juice daily before walking showed improved brain function and connectivity. Another study found that drinking beetroot juice lowered systolic blood pressure by up to 10 mmHg, an effect comparable to some medications. But beets don't just support the heart. They're also anti-inflammatory, loaded with antioxidants like betalains, and rich in fiber that supports gut health and blood sugar balance. And for older adults, that combination can make a real difference. Just ask Everett Bix Callahan. Bix is 82, a retired jazz record producer from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His life was filled with rhythm late nights in the studio jazz festivals, vinyl crates, and horn sections. But lately, things felt off. He'd forget names of albums, get dizzy while getting out of bed, lose track of time mid-conversation. At first, he joked it off as senior moments. But during a checkup, his doctor gave him 2 pieces of news: stage 1 hypertension and early signs of mild cognitive decline. Bix wasn't ready to slow down. He wanted to stay sharp enough to run his jazz club nights and help his grandson with piano lessons. His doctor recommended some changes: more walking, less salt, and one surprising addition, a daily beet smoothie. Bix was skeptical. "Beets, I don't even like beets," he said, but he agreed to try. Each morning he blended cooked beets with ginger, lemon, and a touch of honey. He started walking around the block, sometimes twice. Within a few weeks, something shifted. His energy returned, his dizzy spells faded, and one afternoon while organizing his old jazz records, he noticed he could recall the release dates of albums he hadn't thought about in years. 3 months later, his blood pressure dropped by 12 points. His memory test stabilized. His cardiologist smiled and said, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." Today, Bix still drinks his morning concert, as he calls it. He's back leading music appreciation nights at the senior center and feeling more in control of his mind and body. Beets aren't magic, but for seniors, they can be a quiet revolution on the plate. Whether roasted, blended, or steamed, they offer powerful support where it counts: your heart, your brain, your blood vessels. And in a world where health often feels like a fight, beets are one vegetable that truly fights back for you. Number 2, bok choy. As we age, the risk of bone fractures increases, and so does our vulnerability to everyday illnesses. The solution isn't just about adding more pills or calcium supplements. Sometimes it starts with choosing the right green on your plate. Bok choy, a humble leafy vegetable from the cabbage family, offers a rare combination of bone-strengthening minerals and immune-boosting nutrients without the digestive trouble that often comes with other greens. Unlike spinach, which is high in oxalates that block calcium absorption, bok choy is low in oxalates. That means the calcium it contains is more bioavailable, your body can actually use it. A single cup of cooked bok choy delivers over 150 milliliters calcium, plus magnesium and vitamin K, 2 nutrients that help direct calcium into the bones where it belongs and not into arteries where it causes harm. It also provides a solid dose of vitamin C, which supports white blood cell production and helps the immune system respond faster and more effectively to infections. For seniors whose immune response slows down with age, that's a significant advantage. Now let me introduce you to Lenore Hightower. Lenore is 76, a retired music teacher from Spokane, Washington. Her life had always been full of melody choirs, recitals, school musicals. But after a minor fall in her kitchen left her with a fractured wrist, her doctor had a sobering conversation with her about bone density. A recent scan showed early signs of osteoporosis. The doctor recommended increasing calcium, but Lenore had a problem. She never liked milk, and leafy greens like spinach gave her bloating and stomach cramps. She tried calcium supplements, but they upset her digestion. Frustrated, she spoke with a dietitian who suggested a vegetable she'd barely paid attention to: bok choy. It was crisp, mild, easy to cook. Lenore started sautéing it with garlic and olive oil. She added it to chicken soup. She even steamed it as a side with fish twice a week. The best part, it didn't upset her stomach. Over the next few months, Lenore noticed subtle changes. Her balance improved. She stopped catching colds every time the seasons changed. Her energy was steadier. And when her doctor repeated her bone scan, the results showed stability, not decline. That one change, adding bok choy, became part of her daily rhythm. Today, Lenore still teaches piano lessons to neighborhood kids and volunteers with the community choir, and she swears by her weekly bok choy boost. Bok choy may not have the spotlight like kale or spinach, but for seniors, it quietly delivers what the body needs most: absorbable calcium, anti-inflammatory nutrients, and immune defense without the digestive toll. It's proof that sometimes the best solutions are simple, gentle, and green. Number 3, green peas. They're small, sweet, often dismissed as a simple side dish. But green peas are one of the most underrated superfoods for seniors. Behind their humble appearance is a nutrient profile that directly supports 3 key pillars of healthy aging: blood, sugar stability, digestive health, and muscle maintenance. For older adults managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, green peas are an ideal carb. They're rich in fiber, both soluble and insoluble, which slows digestion and helps prevent spikes in blood glucose. That means fewer energy crashes, better insulin response, and more stable appetite throughout the day. Each cooked cup provides around 7 to 8 grams of fiber, along with plant-based protein, about 8 grams per serving. That's a rare combination in vegetables. And for seniors at risk of muscle loss, known as sarcopenia, peas help maintain strength without needing a protein shake. Green peas also contain antioxidants like flavonoids and carotenoids that reduce inflammation, a major driver of heart disease, joint pain, and metabolic issues in aging bodies. Plus, they're packed with vitamin K, manganese, and B vitamins that support nerve health and energy metabolism. Now let's talk about Fern Broderick. Fern is 80, a retired park ranger from Helena, Montana. He spent most of his life outdoors, hiking trails, leading nature walks, and fixing fences deep in the forest. But retirement had been tough. His energy dropped, his digestion slowed, and a recent checkup revealed borderline blood sugar issues. He hated the idea of going on a diet. He just wanted to feel like himself again, clear-headed, steady on his feet, and regular in the bathroom. A nutritionist at his local clinic didn't hand him a list of restrictions. Instead, she gave him one simple suggestion: add green peas to your meals at least 3 times a week. Fern was skeptical. Peas, really? But he gave it a try. He tossed them into his morning omelet, stirred them into soup, even made a light mash with garlic and olive oil for dinner. Within a few weeks, he noticed changes. He stopped having mid-afternoon crashes. His stomach felt lighter. His bathroom habits were finally predictable. And the fog that had been following him around started to lift. When he returned for his follow-up, his A1C had dropped slightly, but more importantly, he felt better, stronger, more present, less frustrated. And he hadn't cut out the foods he loved, he just added something smart. Today, Fern calls green peas his tiny green protectors. He keeps frozen peas in his freezer at all times, ready to be tossed into anything he's cooking. Peas may not get much attention, but they deserve a place on every senior's plate. They help regulate blood sugar, support regular digestion, and deliver clean plant-based protein in a form that's easy to cook, easy to digest, and easy to love. Sometimes the best health upgrade doesn't come from a powder or pill, it comes from a handful of humble peas. Number 4, Swiss chard. When we talk about vegetables for healthy aging, Swiss chard rarely tops the list, but it should. This vibrant leafy green with its rainbow-colored stems and deep green leaves is one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables you can put on your plate. And for seniors, its benefits go far beyond basic nutrition. It supports detoxification, protects your eyesight, and strengthens immune function, 3 areas that become more critical with each passing decade. Swiss chard is rich in powerful antioxidants called betalains, which help reduce inflammation and support the liver's natural detox pathways. That's important because as we age, our liver becomes less efficient at processing toxins from food, medications, and the environment. Giving your liver a gentle daily assist can improve energy, digestion, and resilience. It also provides a hefty dose of vitamin C, which boosts white blood cell activity and helps fight off colds and infections. This is key for older adults whose immune response tends to slow with age. Swiss chard contains zinc and flavonoids too, both known for reinforcing the body's defenses at the cellular level. But perhaps its most unique gift is to the eyes. Swiss chard is loaded with lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that protect the retina and filter out harmful blue light. These compounds have been shown in multiple studies to slow the progression of age-related macular degeneration and protect against cataracts. For seniors struggling with blurry vision or eye fatigue, this green is a quiet hero. Just ask Loretta Mayfield. Loretta is 84, a retired postal worker from Savannah, Georgia. She lived alone, took her health seriously, and never missed her morning walk. But over the past 2 years, she noticed her digestion was sluggish, and her vision, especially up close, wasn't what it used to be. Reading the newspaper took effort. Watching TV made her eyes feel tired. And every time cold season came around, she seemed to catch whatever was going around and take twice as long to recover. During a nutrition class at her senior center, she heard about Swiss chard for the first time. A dietitian explained how it supported the liver, gut, eyes, and immune system, all areas Loretta had been struggling with. Intrigued, she picked some up the next day at the farmer's market. She started small, sautéing it with olive oil and garlic, mixing it into lentil soup, steaming it with lemon. The taste was mild, the texture soft, and within a few weeks she noticed real changes. Her digestion became more regular. Her energy felt more stable. She went the entire winter without a single cold. But the biggest surprise came at her next eye checkup. Her eye pressure had stabilized. Her ophthalmologist noted that her retina looked healthier than before. And Loretta, she could read the paper again without squinting. Today she swears by her chard nights twice a week without fail. It's become part of her rhythm, her care, her way of staying sharp and steady. Swiss chard isn't flashy, but it's powerful. It nourishes the systems that quietly carry you through the day. Your liver, your immune system, your eyes. It's easy to prepare, gentle on the stomach, and bursting with age-supportive compounds your body can truly use. For older adults who want a vegetable that works as hard as they have all their lives, Swiss chard delivers silently, steadily, and colorfully. Not every vegetable is your friend, especially after 60. Some can quietly trigger inflammation, drain your energy, interfere with your medications, or make existing conditions worse. But that doesn't mean eating healthy has to be complicated. The truth is, healthy aging isn't about perfection. It's about small, smart choices. Choosing the right vegetables, ones that nourish your heart, protect your brain, strengthen your bones, and support your immune system, can transform not only how you feel, but how you live. Start with just one change. Swap a harmful habit for a healing one. Replace one vegetable that's working against you with one that works for you. Then listen closely to your body. It will tell you what's helping. If this video helped you understand your health a little better, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your health is your greatest wealth, and it's never too late to protect it.